Good evening and welcome to Nightfall in Amsterdam. Tonight we are joining a group of werewolves. They gather to discuss some different areas of the city they've poked around in and meet some new people who have shown up and find out what exactly is going on. Once you guys meet or enter the camp area, it's been very streamlined lately. All the there's nine of these new get, and they've really organized everything, put it right in a clean system. They have patrol routes set up that they're doing. There's the surviving buildings have been laid out and utilized more effectively. Tents and stuff set up in a very clean fashion. Supply line sort of things. So.
Okay.
And you cannot arrest the man based on the possibility of a scratch.
We can't arrest this man. That's what you mean. Don't pull any punches now.
You don't understand what the politics are, do you, Dave?
Yeah, so Air's kind of
I do. I just don't care.
saunters on into the
We have an innocent man in our custody, and the killer is
area where they're having the meeting and kind of takes a look around to see who all is present.
The BAU functions without you.
Because I know she had spent some time gathering elders for the conversation.
No, not a chance in hell.
So whoever shows up.
Another hour passes. Is that much?
Yeah, she kind of put the word around that she wanted to meet, so most of them are present, as well as a good portion of these new get, and of course the wonderful, new get elder that she's such a fan of is present as well.
So did that challenge actually take place, or was it just vocalized?
No event has occurred at this point, so
okay,
it's been
so
issued. That's it.
So the Fianna elder is here too. Then I presume she was one of the ones. He was one of the ones that she went looking for, and I believe Petrus and Thorgrim. And I think what's the Shadow Lord's name? He's not Petrus, the other Shadow Lord, the Philodox. Mick Uther, I think, was one she had asked about. I can't remember if I posted it in rumors or not. I might have just said she was gathering elders.
Probably.
Okay.
A little bit later, Lucas walks over and sees that people starting to gather and goes over and gives Air that chin up nod that is basically all he ever does when he meets people. That he already knows. He does this polite thing when he needs to, but gives her the chin up and just kind of stands there, arms folded, waiting for the thing to happen.
Okay. She'll give Lucas her typical nod, but she's kind of watching over with kind of looking around with a serious face.
That's a shocker.
Hef will start walking up, hobbling with his cane. Look around, see Lucas and Air, and kind of head their direction. Okay. More towards Air, because he doesn't know Lucas that well.
Alvaro will kind of breeze in about a minute behind Hef. Will note the group, kind of breeze over to them.
She will smile slightly in a greeting to both Alvaro and Hef.
Hello, all.
Hello.
Hey, it's good to see you. It's been a while.
Yes, I was busy.
I imagined.
Are those gathered here kind of congregating in any particular groups?
Well, the new get have kind of been mingling, although you do see some of the um, other get of the camp, such as Sings with Foxfires is over with the new ones.
Okay.
The Siberac is Kulik is actually, who, if you recall, was a wormful previously, is actually talking over with Elfine, the elder get.
Okay. Okay. Here just kind of looks at Hef, and I can't remember if Alvaro introduced himself to the elders or not.
Yes.
Okay. So it's just Hef then, right?
He did.
That needs to.
I don't remember when Alvaro did either, but
The night he showed up, he did the introduction in front of everybody.
oh
It was
yeah,
the
'cause
very first, yeah.
he showed up at a gathering.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
right.
With what's his Z's Shadow Lord who did, and then
Right. Air kind of looks at Hef and she's like, yeah, I think as soon as this meeting gets underway, you might want to take care of business pretty close to right out the bat, so they're not like, what the F?
That's fine. I was just waiting for it to be the proper time.
Right.
He winks at Ares like, remember, I come from a sept where if I made a little mistake, dire consequences. I rarely do that.
She kind of nods and she's like, yeah, I can imagine. Actually, are any of the other Furies here?
Well, there's not a lot to begin with.
I was gonna say that was Judges the Kings and I can't remember the other one's name off the top of my head.
Well, you have Cleve's Truth from Tales.
Yep, that was her.
it's a great name.
So I don't know if they're still here or if they're present anyway.
We will have Cleves this year. She's a Galliard. She wants
Okay.
she wants to see things.
Air will kind of give Hef a tap on the shoulder and motion her head in the direction of Cleve's Truth from Tales, and
Okay. Hep will walk that direction.
She's
and...
one of your elders.
Oh,
One of
oh,
your
great.
tribe.
An elder? Great.
No, she's not an elder, but she definitely has higher rank than both of us.
Well, that's not hard to do for me. You mean she's not a cub?
Right.
Me and my baby, one little pure breed.
Perhaps starting an introduction there would be of use to you. Before things get started, make yourself known to your own tribe, as it were.
I'll wander over there. He doesn't look thrilled by wandering over there, just to let you know. He just wanders over there. Slowly. And then kind of waits to be acknowledged before he does anything. You will notice, Air, that there is a meekness about him that you've probably never seen before at this point.
Right. Air is kind of studying the exchange from out of the corner of her eye.
Alvaro is watching and humming, and
And he'll just, uh,
She.
yeah, she just looks over at Hef as he approaches and kind of gives him a little bit of a nod, but like acknowledgement.
He'll connect eyes and then look down. I am Hephaestus Cliath Theurge, born in sin of the tribe of Pegasus. I just wanted to let you know that I was here, and it's an honor to meet you. I think I said everything I need to say. I used to have a list. I used to write it down at LARP because I'd always forget something.
No, I think you got it covered.
I don't have a deed name, so.
Right.
She says, "Well, I am now aware."
Ouch.
He'll walk away.
And as she starts to, she'll say, "It will be prudent to watch carefully, as many of these others take a stance that's not well favored among the Furies. When you have some time, you'll probably do better off if you seek go chance beneath the moon."
Chance beneath the moon. Thank you for your wisdom.
And she turns back to listening she starts listening in on, not really adding anything, but participating in the conversation between the one-eyed Get and this Russian fellow, Kulik.
When is Hef coming back over?
Mm-hmm.
She kind of looks over at him with a raised eyebrow. Well, that was mighty fast.
My existence doesn't matter to her.
No?
Nope. She's acknowledged it.
She doesn't know what kind of pie you make.
Very few people do. Oh, you've missed so much, Alvaro. I am a master chef now, like straight up BAM!
we'll have to meet and discuss.
I will. Over food.
Well, that's the idea.
If Hunts the Umbra is here, are the rest of his pack present? She's just kind of looking to see if they're chilling with him after this challenge has been issued, and if how tensions are running, if there's any between these two elders or the two groups.
Well, his the other Fianna, who is Athro, Lena, is present. But the other two of the pack are not.
The other two were Get, correct?
Correct. They were also Foster and Adrin.
Okay.
And I will note that the Adrin is a Lupus Regabash, which you guys knew.
Okay. Air will give him a respectful nod that hunts the Umbra as she's there and flashes him a friendly smile, being as he's been cool to her. And she'll kind of look around to see if anybody is taking a lead on the so-called meeting, as it were, being as they're elders, they get say when all this shit goes down. So
They don't really seem to be. They've kind of been asked to gather, so they've done so.
well, she would
They'll-
have explained at least why.
Well, they understand why, but they didn't call the meeting.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Elf does stand up and ask if anyone is hungry, and gestures over to a fire pit behind him where there are a number of deer roasting.
Gotcha.
And he fairly pointedly pulls like one of the roast haunches off and holds it out, offers it out. If anyone, like being blatant about it.
Lucas will go get some.
Yeah, and a number of the other, especially some of the other get do go up to get some as well.
Would you like me to grab you some?
Grab me what?
I'm gonna go get some food. Would you like me to bring you some back?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Kind of saunter over and grab some food.
A fairly young man, quite a bit younger than the rest. I know Air has met him because he's a Wendigo, only Wendigo in the area. Brings a plate over to Hef anyway, and hands it to him. He says, "Refusing to eat won't make them like you anymore. Might as well get the best of it. Not often you get a free meal from the elders."
That's true. Thank you. I'm Hephaestus, client Theurge of the Black Furies, born in sin.
And I just lost my post that had his name.
Oh,
He looks at you and chuckles and says, "Born in sin." Well, he's laughed at that one. He says, "I'm Severus the Corruption, Half Moon Metis of the Wendigo. And if Metis is born in sin, then oh boy, do I have a story for you."
I would love to hear it sometime.
Lucas comes back with his food and hangs out with the with Club Metis over here.
Club Metis.
Hef is nomin. Nom nom.
Air kind of is Thorgrim present?
Yeah, he's kind of mostly hanging out by himself. He's talked to a couple of the other get, both the newer ones and some of the older ones.
Okay. Air's gonna she'll approach Thorgrim, being as he's kind of by himself. And being as he's still, despite being her mentor, he's still her elder, so she's gonna wait for him to acknowledge her.
He'll nod and kind of says, or points out to the to the center of the clearing and says, "Well, it's your show."
My show, huh? I wasn't aware that I was allowed to call meetings, only ask for them.
Well, when you ask for a meeting from enough people, that would be you organizing them.
I guess I suck at this organizing thing, don't I? She kind of half smirks. And she actually motions her head slightly over to the others of their tribe. And what do you make of this?
He kind of shrugs and says, "Well, doesn't hurt to invite more to the city. We certainly can use some reinforcements."
That we can. How many of them have you spoken to, if any?
At one point or another, I've talked to all of them since they've gotten here.
Gotcha. Actually, I have something that I want to show you.
He looks and goes, Is this really the right time?"
What?
"Well, I assume we have a whole gathering here. Whatever you gathered for would be for everyone. Don't you think that
Well,
should be
yeah.
priority?"
Yes, I do. I'm just telling you that at some point.
He looks and says, "Well, fair enough then. I assumed you meant this second."
No, not this second.
He says, "Well, this meeting goes much longer, and I'm pretty sure of a wait. I'm pretty sure he'll find over there is going to eat the entire fucking deer himself. And at some point, the Fiona are going to feel a certain way about that."
Yeah, I bet.
Did I don't know where everyone's positioned. Is there are Air and Thorgrim near where the all the metas are hanging out, or did they wander off
I
somewhere
mean,
else?
she went over to him, and then he was kind of off on his own, so I assume they're not too close, at least.
Lucas walks over. Hey, Air, do you want me to introduce you to everyone and kind of hand it off to you so you can get this thing going?
I don't know.
Just hate for the elders to get bored and piss off.
Oh, you mean She motions over towards the deer like that, and glances at to see
Yeah,
how the Fiona are doing.
kind of like that.
Oh, wait, did we by chance hear that bit? Or is it far enough away we're not hearing it?
Well, I don't know how loud they were talking, but I imagine.
Probably wasn't super loud because I didn't want to call a whole lot of attention to air if she didn't want to.
Right. Um. Oh.
I can kick this thing off if you want.
Well, that being said, Air is just going to walk into a clearing and give a loud whistle to kind of try to catch everybody's attention.
They all kind of look over. Obviously, some of them not as enthusiastically as others, but they all give you their attention.
Oh, goody. So she's going to, I don't know if you want me to roll something because I suck at this story, this explaining business. I was not out of character expecting to have to ramble on and on and on and start this thing, but she's basically going to explain that they went and looked at a couple of the sites for a sept, and she will explain the positives of the second one because that was the one she was there for, like the water, the cover, so on and so forth. Mention that the spirit that currently was sleeping there said go for it if we want to make a home there. And she'll kind of is in regards to the first one, she will glance over at Lucas and let him talk about that one because he was there for it. So I don't know if you want me to roll like a charisma or something to better explain it, but
Yeah, we'll do.
it's been a little while since we've been there, so or did that scene.
Yeah, I, out of character, don't remember all the details of it other than that we found the
I know, like I said,
the newly changed Lupus there, and that there were some signs that he may have been captive.
all right. So what, like a charisma expression?
Yes, that's
Okay.
exactly what I was thinking.
Okay. I'm going to spend a willpower on this to actively try to yeah, make it good. And I'm going to, she's obviously projecting her voice enough so everyone can hear. Are you kidding me? I'm really glad that I spent that one willpower because that was that was the only success I got. Air, not a speaker or a galliard.
I offered.
I know.
All right, so they get the kind of the gist of at least what information you're relaying, but it was not elegant by any means.
Air isn't an elegant being, anyways. I guess it works out.
When Air is finished, Alvaro will like crook a finger at her.
She kind of gives him gives Alvaro a stink eye like, you goddamn ragabash.
All right, so for Lucas's bit, he's not like putting it into song or anything. Just kind of relaying the story. What like I said, I don't remember all the details other than kind of what I said. So what kind of role do you want for that? I was thinking like a charisma, I don't know, performance. I don't know. That's what he's got the most dots in.
I mean, if he's just kind of like relaying information, it would probably be more of an expression.
Okay. That works.
Does she happen to come over?
No, she's staying with Lucas because they're kind of talking.
So
And
Lucas is gonna open up his bit with because he hasn't met all the other Get yet. He's gonna say, "A lot of you know me. Some of you don't. I'm Lucas Three Chords, breaks the stone heart, Galliard Metis of the tribe of Cockroach," and then goes into his accounting of the first location. And he got 2 successes.
All right. So with 2 successes, you give more elegant descriptions than Air did, and probably to some degree a little bit more useful information. Although she did convey what was needed. And especially with the new Get, they just kind of seem to be all right. They're hearing what you have to say, but they're looking for kind of a relevance to it.
Like the "Why are we here? Thanks for the update, but what do you want from me?" That kind of a look.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so Lucas kind of looks over at Air and is with that kind of a "Do you want me to keep going?" look.
she just kind of she kind of glances back at Lucas, and then she just kind of puts out the question: thoughts, opinions on these first 2? We still have a few to look into. I mean, we kind of don't have a sept, so
And one of the
she kind of looks impatient too.
one of the new Get, a shaved-headed young man, says, "And yet we know there is a potent one here in the city.
She raises an eyebrow.
In fact, it even was held by some here until recently." He gestures to some of the other new Get and he says, "We've successfully ran multiple raids on it. But raids by a couple of Guru do not seize such a thing."
The riddling waters.
Whatever name they call it, the current one is not pronounceable unless you're half mad and probably drunk as well.
Well, if you guys have been doing raids on it, what have you guys figured out about what's? I mean, we obviously know it's been corrupted again.
It's also suspiciously low population. Next to no kinfolk. Most of the dancers who are there are more of the cannon fodder variety. A lot of
And
rampant destruction and desolation type of defacement.
what about the Umbra?
Well, it turns out when you let a wetland fall to the worm, the Umbra side gets pretty ugly. I've seen motor oil that's cleaner.
I'm no
She-
search, but if we went through and got rid of all the dancers, could we cleanse it?
We can
Well-
always cleanse it.
We'll just have to be more careful than we'd have to be more careful than those who thought they did the job before.
Or they did the job and missed the part. Or something came back.
There's a whole lot of ifs and maybes. Regardless, we know that we can't just let them keep it. But we do still need a strong place to call a home base for now. And this isn't really it. It's good for temporary a temporary place, but can't really do much with it when there's no not much for a bond.
When a new kern is born, that kind of alerts all the worm servants in the area, right? And
Oh, you
isn't
mean
that
like a
sort of
big
how that
worm
works?
beacon?
Yeah.
From what I understand.
Well, maybe if we pick one of these two places and we go form a kern there and create our sept, when that worm beacon goes off, it'll draw out all of the worm servants that are in Riddling Waters, and we just take care of them then.
And you hear a couple of chuckles and
I believe that was mentioned previously. And she kind of looks over at what's his nuts? It was the Get that mentioned it last time. Was it Breaks the Dragon that mentioned it last time?
not that it would, he didn't suggest doing it. He just said, "This is what you're going to do if it happens."
I'm
But
saying let's do it on purpose.
he looks
Yeah,
over
do it on
and
purpose.
he goes, "I don't think you quite realize what it means. The second you start an extremely lengthy and taxing ritual, you set off a flare that's going to draw everything even remotely wormish in the area. They may not even know why, but they're going to come and they're going to try and kill everything. And the strongest and most potent, and probably a large number of your force, are going to be caught up in a ritual that they cannot stop against a largely overwhelming force."
Then that leaves us only the one choice of going after the Riddling Waters first then. Or calling in help from somewhere else.
Or you try and create it and hope like hell it works and hope you can do it fast enough and juggle your resources and try and plan for eventualities. Or, yes, you get help from somewhere.
There's what, roughly 70 of us here, including kinfolk. The odds probably aren't that great. She kind of looks at Lucas. We can't really I mean, minus the kinfolk, what, 40, 50 guru versus Gaia only knows how many minions of the worm. I mean,
And a whole city full of leeches.
yeah. We have to be a little bit
Well, that's my point.
smarter than that.
That was my point when I suggested that we take back Riddling Waters from the very beginning. Was that when this kern formation happens, maybe we win, maybe we get through it, maybe we end up with a new kern. Cool. But I think they're still, especially if these raids have been going on, they're in a semi-weakened state. And I think that that's probably our best chance for success.
Not to mention, yeah. Not only will we have like worm creatures, but obviously banes and things of the like. There's two sides to this battle, and as much as I love slaying the worm and its minions, you definitely need bigger numbers. And Amsterdam Forest likely is not big enough to harbor those numbers. Out of character, John, because Air grew up in Amsterdam Forest when it was the frozen forest. Roughly how many Guru does she think this place can hold?
Well, when it was a cairn, it held a significant amount, probably twice what you have now, but as is, it's probably going to be, you're probably pretty much at the limit.
I mean, let me put this one in perspective for you. There's, like I said, roughly 70 of us now, including kinfolk. This place on its own can hold double what there is now. So roughly 140 before it gets sketchy. I'm not exactly a tactician here, so just calling it like calling this spot like I see it.
And one of the other new gets up and says, "Yes, well, tactics is certainly a factor. Striking before they get themselves established would have been the first tactic. Some sort of action would have been the ideal first tactic. But Shear has some resources. It's not defensible in any stretch of the imagination. We've been able to set up some sort of system, but it's marginal at best. Any sort of organized strikes against us, and we're pretty much doomed. We have no timeline for evacuation, no plan of where to go. We've got a couple of prospective locations for let's create a new place, and that's a great option. That still leaves us a powerful hive here in the city. That's a threat. And then if we did retake that later, then we're stretched between two locations trying to defend them, and we've now split our resources.
What? Air is going to ponder this. What numbers do I think these other two places can hold on to, at least for camp setup?
Let's do a wits plus survival on
Okay.
that.
Oh. 1, my favorite number of the day.
Well, with 1, you would know that your the initial location you guys looked at, the Bene Brokos, would be more crowded than where you're at, but it did offer more resources, so it probably about the same number of you have now.
Okay.
The Kreuzberg was large, pretty sparsely populated, so you probably could have more people there, especially being more wilderness.
So Kreisberg has more space than where we're at currently, is what it breaks down to.
Yeah, and the upside is you didn't live there before, giving them a
Yep.
bright
Plus, there's
pointers.
spirits coming out coming out of the woodwork, and if I recall, there were dragon spirits too.
It is
Well,
also haunted.
haunted.
Yes.
She raises
There,
an eyebrow.
in the Umbra, I saw opens his notepad. Wolves tearing apart a young man, and there was a large man screaming, holding an axe. He tried to get to the young man, but he couldn't. It may have had something to do, well, I'm certain it had something to do with the things that were found.
Things that were found.
Mm-hmm. There was digging.
Oh.
And some items were found. The assumption is this is from that period.
Well, like I said, there's more space there. There's more. There's definitely resources at both, but more space in the second location. And like I said, there's more spirits, but haunted.
Yeah.
She just kind of looks around and says, ultimately, I just get to relay information. I don't have the rank that some of you do to make actual decisions on how this should be handled.
And Allthing looks over and says, it seems that rank is not a good qualifier for making decisions either. We've heard lots of options, all of them inherent with significant risk. Many of them heard before as well. We've gotten some more details, but I haven't heard any compelling arguments on why one of them over the other would be any better.
Which one is let's see. Well, I mean, if we sit here, it's an already known space as it used to be, except to the frozen forest. Any of these other locations isn't a known sept or camp and isn't obvious to look at. Which one is more defendable? Can I make a roll to figure that one out? Wit survival?
Yeah, I'd say wit survival would work for that.
Okay. Are you? Well, I mean, I had 2 1s and a 6, so I didn't botch, but I failed. So she just kind of is pondering for a second.
The other get kind of seemed to be getting a bit more, not agitated, but animated, I guess, more enthusiastic.
Okay. She kind of glances at the other 3 that were present with her there and just says, in your opinions, which location do you think is the best in regards to resources and being defendable? I mean, anywhere at this point is better than somewhere that is already known, even if we just use it as a camp.
Out of character. What was the name of the second one? I forget what it was called.
Kreisberg.
Kreisberg? I definitely think that Kreisberg is the way to go, at least for moving the camp to somewhere where they may not know where we are immediately.
Alvaro points to Lucas. Needs a bit more looking into, but I think so.
When you guys are answering, are you answering to like the assembled? Is this being asked in front of everybody?
It's being asked in front of everyone, yes, but she was directly addressing you.
Well, that's
3.
fine. I need to announce introduce myself if that's the case. So,
Yes.
So Hef will step forward when everybody else is done talking, and I'm Hephaestus Clyathiurge of the Black Furies, Metis. It's an honor to be here before you. Honestly, I did not see the first one, but the second location in, what was it, Glassburn?
Kreisberg.
Greensburg, seemed like a fantastic place for a sept. Didn't we not find evidence that at one point in time it was a sept?
There were red talon spirits present,
I
ancestor
thought
spirits, the ones that attacked us.
Glasswalker
It was a
artifacts.
camp. It was a camp.
There were camps that were more of the like a migrant kind of a camp. Like it wasn't really a permanent settlement from what I gathered.
But it was a very strong place that you could build defensible things. I'm just anxious to get to one of them or to make a decision because as of this next month, I start crafting items for the warriors. So
The way I see it is, one of these places will at least make a better camp than, like I said, where we're at. A place that's known.
If it were up to a vote, my vote would be for Kreisberg for a camp. And then Lucas looks over at that first get that had talked about the raids. And I would agree with our get friend here about doing more raids on Riddling Waters and probing their defenses until we can finally just take it.
Air looks like she's down with that. Yeah. They'll eventually catch on to the smaller raiding parties, though.
Then we do a big one. Wherever it dwells and wherever it breeds, right?
Right.
And a couple of the get look around and see. We have a camp now. We move a camp and then do what we continue doing. We are on risk of exposure and relocating. We are on risk of delays. We're establishing a camp that, while may have better defensible position, is a less known area. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we don't need a camp once we have a sept. So we suggest investing more time into what amounts to delaying action. And one of the other get looks over at the Shadow Lord McUther and says, when you knew that the wrongful support of others grew, even by your own tribe, aided the worm, you slew them yourself. You didn't wait. You didn't find a different option. You didn't stall. You acted. We've heard the tales. You drove spears through your own tribesmen because by their delay they had aided the worm. And McUther kind of nods his head and says, I fight the worm wherever. Always. And Allthing gets up and he says, and you acknowledge inaction aids the worm. They've taken a sept, we let them keep it, we sit here on our hands twiddling our thumbs. We might as well just start sending them our food too. We're giving them all the time to stock up they would need. Our raids have found that it's vacant, relatively so. Why? We know they had kin there. They poached kin. And those are gone. We know they didn't kill every guru who didn't escape. Where did they go? We've given them time to establish themselves and go underground. How much longer do we give them? How much longer will you sit idle before you will bring justice?
He says underground, and Air just kind of, her eyes kind of like get big, and she kind of looks at, she's kind of quiet. She just kind of glances at Lucas and Alvaro and Hef.
Lucas looks back at her. He's like, I agree with him.
Hef shrugs and goes, I agree with them both. It is literally what we are here on this planet for.
Yeah, there's risks no matter what we do, so.
See.
And Foxfire stands up and she says, as the eldest of the Get who had resided here previously, I've been asked to speak on the behalf of all of them. We are tired of hiding, we are tired of running, and we are tired of waiting. The Get, formerly of the frozen forest and the riddling waters, will follow Allthing in the reclamation of our city, and we will establish ourselves at the sept that rightfully is ours once it has been retaken.
Lucas is getting that fire in his eye, starting to nod with her, like, yeah, let's fucking do it.
A couple of the other ones start looking around. Kulik looks and says, it's been too long since I have blown something up.
Air kind of, she hears the blowing up bit, and she's like, ooh.
Thorgrim looks at Allthing and he says, I do not agree with your stance, but I do agree action needs to be taken. And thus far, I am disappointed to say you are the only one who has proposed a concrete plan of action. Furthermore, I happen to know that you have already had some of our tribe, not just raiding, but laying out attack plans. He kind of sniffs kind of a growl and spits on the ground and says, I don't like it, but I don't have a better answer. And no one else has had the backbone to propose one. So be it. Number of the other group present kind of voiced their opinion. Most of them taking side with Allthing.
What side does the Black Fury take?
At this point, she is still listening. She has not voiced an opinion.
Okay, thank you.
What about the Fianna and Petrus?
Petrus at this point is looking at McUther. He just, to him, a judge of doom voicing that blatant of a support was a fairly clear. Kind of almost seemed to catch him off guard.
Okay.
So he hasn't declared. The Fianna who are here already are kind of looking at Gregor, who looks relatively unhappy with the way this whole thing is going.
They look unhappy.
Gregor
But
does.
Huh?
Gregor looks unhappy.
But he hasn't said anything?
Correct.
Is he not an elder?
He is.
And he's an Arun, right?
Yes.
And he led the war pack on the other sept.
Correct.
Air is simply going to make it very blatant that she's looking at him with a questioning look. But she is not going to say anything because she's not going to be an asshole to someone who's helped her. She's just kind of like looking at him like, well, now's the time to say it if you have something to say.
As you guys, everybody roll me a perception alertness.
Okay.
Lucas notices nothing.
I forget how to roll in the system. I'm sorry.
3.
It's hashtag number of dice, D10, F, and then the difficulty.
Zero. I don't notice sheet.
The Silent Strider here, John?
What's that?
Is a Silent Strider here? Sarah speaks to the wind.
She has not been seen around here, although previously she spends a lot of time with the kinfolk.
Okay.
So it's likely that's where she is.
All right, thank you.
So two of you, it looks like Air and that must be Alvaro is the other one.
Yep.
Notice as a large black wolf hits Gregor from behind.
Oh, from behind?
Yeah, knocked him down.
What kind of, is it that wolf?
Well,
Or is it just...
no, you recognize it as the Get Lupus Ragabash of his own pack. And he snarls at him.
Air just kind of face palms.
Right, he gets right down in Gregor's face. And he snarls at him. And then he turns and walks away and sits with the other Get over by Allthing. And at that, Gregor gets up pretty furious. Looking like he's prepared to start something.
Air just kind of like she looks between the lupus and the elder, and she's just kind of waiting for it, despite the fact that the lupus is her tribe mate. He totally just attacked an elder from behind and doesn't share the same rank. So she's like, oh shit.
You would also know that was one of his pack mates.
Yep.
And as Gregor kind of starts over that way, Allthing steps forward and he says, "Do you want to do this now, Gregor?" Such fury for your own. Where has it been for the last months while you sat? I'm going to have everyone give me a perception primal urge.
Oh, Air has such qualms about attacking people from behind. Perception primal urge?
Yes.
2 for Lucas.
Wrong.
Wow, 1.
2 for Hef.
Two for everyone but Air.
I mean,
Also shocker.
roll
Right?
your 2s like a boss.
That's all right. Last time Lucas was taking a bite out of his deer haunch.
Is there, Air had 1, everyone else had 2. You guys can all sense the rage literally coming off of Gregor at this point.
Okay, I have a character question.
Sure.
There's been no formal challenge issued. Well, no, there has. Does it look like it's been accepted, or does it have to be I accept and then go?
Well, that's kind of seems to be what he's asking is, I issued a challenge. Are we doing this now type of thing?
Okay. And does Air seem to favor one or the other from her look on her face?
She is more she's not so upset so much about the challenge in itself, because that's just part of being Gru. It is who it is, you know. But she's more agitated that not only did his packmate attack. She's more agitated that his packmate attacked not only his alpha but an elder with their back turned. She's not the type of person that really she doesn't think it's cool to attack someone with their back turned. She thinks it's cowardly.
Lucas is just wide-eyed, glued to the situation, like slowly taking bites off of
Mhm.
his deer leg or whatever it is he's eating.
Pretty sure my mouth's a little bit open as the pretty much for the same reason Air is going. Really? I'm wondering why nobody that Lupus went to is smacking the shit out of him right now for being a dishonorable piece of crap.
Thorgrim finally walks up past Aelfwine and walks up in a very low voice, says, "Don't do this, Gregor. You and I both know if you fight him now, you're fighting him alone."
Should be that way anyway.
And roll me a perception empathy.
Okay.
0 successes. I don't know empathy, but I don't know perception well.
Can
Is
you
that
just do a
for
perception
everyone?
check?
Yes, you can do, because it's a talent.
Diff
Oh,
higher.
hey. Dang, too bad I don't have 10s, a specialty. For once, I actually rolled fairly decently.
Yeah, Lucas got 2. I think that roll was for everyone.
What would the diff be for just perception?
It's still standard.
Okay. 1.
All right, so Lucas and Air each had 2.
Yep.
And that's so you guys notice kind of an emphasis a little bit on the word alone when he says it. And Gregor finally turns away. And in a low voice, he says, "It seems that this is the course that has been decided as best by the majority present. It would not be in keeping to go against my peers." And while and he kind of grits his teeth a little bit, challenge was rightfully issued. The decisions of this gathering, I believe, would constitute a declaration of war against a local hive. So I cannot accept your challenge at this time, lest I violate the prohibition upon challenges during a time of war. We may address our differences once this conflict has been resolved to the satisfaction of those who would lead us into this battle. I assume they'll find you will be at the forefront. And he looks and laughs and lets out a fairly primal howl that a number of the other guru join in. And then he looks down and says, "Of course, where else would one be during such a conflict? Can't get many kills from the back." You guys notice a lot of the other remaining guru kind of nodding, and even those who kind of go over to Gregor at this point seem on board. Allthing looks over his shoulder and says, "We will begin war councils immediately. Guru who remain here at the camp will have patrol schedules to maintain security here, while we increase raids to test any present defenses, and scouting parties to see if we can identify where the significant numbers that are missing have gone. They would not just surrender a hive, nor leave it undefended even in complacency. And if they have vacated, we need to know what is so all-fire compelling that they would vacate a hive in favor of it." Are there any further questions? He looks around and then he says, "I would like to thank Air for being the driving force behind this gathering and spurring everyone to action so that we can reach a resolution."
She will simply give him a nod.
Well, fortunately, we have a wondrous feast that we can enjoy. And for those who do not prefer venison, we do have an abundance of fish that keeps turning up near our borders that we will
Have smiles big at that statement. I met that guy.
Hair kind of half she half chuckles. She knows where the fish is coming from.
Heffel sigh. Does everybody seem like they're starting to eat and stuff now?
Yeah, they're kind of dispersing. I mean, it wasn't a formal moot or anything, so there's not really a formal structure, but people do seem to be dispersing for the most part.
Air, I know you said you weren't going to bring your own, but he reaches into his shirt and pulls out a bottle of Jameson. I feel I need this more than I thought hoped I would, but here.
And while you guys are talking, this Russian fellow actually comes over and hands Air a flask, and he says, "You need something stronger than crap whiskey from an island."
Air raises an eyebrow and looks at him. Has she met this individual before?
She's met Kulik. He's the Russian who likes to blow stuff up. The Sibarak.
Oh, okay. I just couldn't remember. That's what I said. You said Russian, just this Russian. Had you said who it was? And then she just kind of looks at him and smiles, and she takes the flask and she says, Why not both? And she takes a drink out of the flask and hands it back.
And you're fairly certain that, well, it's smooth. It's got to be at least mostly alcohol.
Mostly alcohol.
Yeah, it's like a he calls it vodka, but it's clearly closer to a moonshine
Okay.
because this is not like an 80 proof beverage.
Ooh, wow. That was quite smooth. She'll smile at him.
You'll notice that a number of the other elders have kind of gathered. Allthing has like a camp table set up that he's pulling out maps and stuff at. Petrus and Thorgrim seem to kind of be working with him. The beta for the war pack, which is Lena says, kind of goes over and says, please let me know how my pack can be of assistance and where you will need us.
Yeah, Eric's kind of just assuming that the war planning is being handled by the elders because that's kind of their shtick. She's kind of looking and seeing who all is over there. It's like she said, she's not a tactician. She's Theurge. She does battles. She'll fight. And she can fight, but tactics aren't her thing.
Lucas is keeping his mouth shut, but he's kind of watching. Like he's over at, not like sitting at the table, but standing over there watching what everyone's doing. Unless they tell him to fuck off, and then he leaves.
And they just kind of, you want to watch, so be it. They don't care, but they're not going to stop you. But they also don't seem terribly interested in your input.
He's not offering any. He's just like watching and learning.
This was an interesting gathering.
It was something.
Did it go the way you thought it would?
I mean, I had just planned on discussing these locations that we seem to have wasted time looking into.
Not wasted. Especially the second one. I will open things a bit more. I'll let you know what I find out.
Alright, is there anything anyone else wants to take care of?
He's just gonna go wander off and see if he can locate Sarah, but that can be handled.
Sure.
I'm going to drink with Air as long as she lets me, and probably fall asleep on her floor. At this point.
Oh, you mean the ground at the camp?
Yes. The ground at the camp.
Yeah. Air, obviously, she's just kind of
I really wish Lil had been here.
Air really does kind of want to punch the lupus Ragabash right in the face for, like I said, she thought his actions were cowardly, and she's staying where she's at and eyeing him up because he technically has higher rank than her.
I was going to say, do you know what rank he is?
But
He was an Athro, wasn't he?
he's an Adrin,
Oh.
which is the rank she just put in a challenge for before all of this. I'm still waiting on that.
Yeah, go
So she's
oh, wait,
kind
no,
of
it's time
like,
of war. You can't challenge him now.
I put it in beforehand, yeah.
No, I meant him. Challenge him. I would walk up and challenge him for cowardice.
I mean, she could feasibly just tell him he's a coward. But
Cowardice. Cowardly, honorless dog. Put that on.
but yeah, she's just kind of eyeing him up.
Raggy gonna raggy.
Elder had 2 ranks over him, though. Oh.
Alright, well, if everyone's just kind of waiting to get directions type of thing.
Alvaro, you may want to approach the elders and offer up our pack for whatever they need us to do, since Lil's not here and you're the beta.
Oh, yes.
You guys have done the thing already? You've petitioned
No.
your spirit?
Not
No.
yet, but
You're not
still...
officially a pack yet.
No.
I thought they were. I didn't know. Well, then never mind.
No, I have to.
Well, then we need to do the thing because right now we're 3 packless people that aren't going to have any jobs in an upcoming battle, which will be awful.
And Air will obviously make it known that Odin's pack is available to them.
Veronica offered me a place in her pack as well.
Ooh, duel off.
Oh yeah. That'll be my response. I would go to the winner. Nah, she thought I would get along well with Lucas and Willow. I will find Lucas though sometime and ask him. Do you have a preferred weapon, or do you just use your claws when you fight?
I use my guitar axe most of the time, which out of game is a
Badass.
it's like a level 4 fetish. It's maybe
Okay.
higher. It's a pretty kick-ass
Okay.
axe.
No, that's cool. I'm a craftsman, so I'm trying to make everybody that can use one a cool weapon. So
You could make him some like he's got armor, but it isn't anything
what kind of armor does he wear?
fetishy. It's are you talking like fetish stuff or just like
I can make
Stuff.
if you look at the craft rules, I can make pretty much anything in the craft rules given time. I can't do anything this month. I'm still waiting for like 3 more days because I blew this month making a knife and then tools for all my other stuff. So, but next month I'll be starting.
He's got I mean, it's pretty cool looking stylized leather armor.
Leather's your preferred though? Okay.
Well, that's what he picked up off of the corpse that he took it off of. But,
well, he'll ask you blatantly. He's like, so I can do metal, I can do leather. These are something I'm very good at. Very, very, very. It's what I do. So I'm trying to equip the people I meet as best as possible, and then I'm going to mass produce for the Sept as much as possible for, well, now we have a war.
I mean,
But your stuff, since you've traveled and
Lucas
fought with me.
Yeah.
So I would like you to have
if
something.
asked Lucas that he would say, you know, I appreciate the offer, but there's probably others who need your assistance first. I'm well equipped.
Okay. Don't say that too loud around Alvaro. He may ask you to pull it out in front of people.
Oh boy.
Okay.
He smiles. It was a gathering at my house, and he's trying to get me to whip my stuff out. It was very odd and awkward, and my face turned red. It was. Well. He went full Ragabash, and you never go full Ragabash.
Right. All right, guys. I'm gonna drop.
I gotta do this.
We will wrap it there then if no one has anything else.
Not I.
All right. So that will wrap up tonight's scene. Again, this was a werewolf scene. Thank you, players, for playing and watchers for watching. We look forward to seeing you again and seeing where this goes.